You're listening to the LSG Sports Network, the authority on Texas high school football. Welcome to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show on Lone Star Gridiron. I'm Chris Doelle, and it's my belief that the men that make up the fraternity of Texas high school football coaches are much more than a bunch of thick-necked guys with whistles. They do so much more than teach technique and the X's and O's of football. They take young boys and change them into young men of character. They get kids to believe in themselves, to trust others, and to put others ahead of themselves. Texas high school football coaches are unique in how they impact the lives of these athletes as well as the generations those kids touch. In this show, I sit down with a different Texas high school football coach each time and learn about them. Not their record, not their on-field accomplishments, but who they are and what they believe and what it means to be part of the greatest sport in the greatest state. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show, Season 7, Episode 2. I'm your host, Chris Doelle. My guest today may be a brand new coach for Ponder High School, but his pedigree goes back much further. I will introduce you to Marcus Schulz right after this. Hey coaches, I want to tell you about a product I discovered that is going to be a game changer. Yeah, the Exploder Bar. As coaches, you want to get your athletes as strong as possible without jeopardizing their speed and quickness. The Exploder does just that. I know it sounds like marketing hype, but if you're like me, the second you see this lifting tool in action, you will recognize just how brilliant it is. Triple extension lifts are the key to more powerful movements, and the Exploder Bar was designed to allow these exercises to be performed in a safe and effective manner. And it's a great way to condition core muscle groups and ligaments. Check it out at PremierAthleticSolutions.com. The Exploder Bar is built for athletes who are looking for speed, strength, and explosion. Again, that's PremierAthleticSolutions.com. All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Marcus Schulz to the show. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing blessed. Couldn't be any better.
I love it. Well, first off, congratulations on the new gig, but we're not really going to talk about this one.
I appreciate it, man. We're excited. We're excited to, obviously it's bittersweet here in Humble, but we're excited to get to Ponder and get things going for sure.
You bet. Well, let's reverse the clock and take me back to when you, as a boy, first discovered the game of football and fell in love with it.
And I'm gonna tell you, football to me probably started back watching my older brother Shane Schulz. He was a high school football player, and then also went on and played college football at East Texas State at the time. And so, watching him play and watching him go through football season and being a part of his practices, and that kind of is what sparked me. But I really didn't get the bug for football. I was more of a track and baseball guy all through, Little League. And then my first year to play football was my freshman year when I got to Sanger High School.
Sanger? Okay. And where was your brother playing?
So my brother played in Irving. So we lived in Irving. So he played at Irving High School under Jim Bennett, and then went to East Texas State.
Nice. And then so you started playing when you got to Sanger. What was that experience like?
It was different. I'd never been a part of a football program, so really didn't understand the ins and outs and I guess how to put pads on, that kind of stuff. So early on it was learning. But obviously, it was fun. I ended up being moved up to varsity that freshman year, toward the end of that freshman year, and played varsity in the playoffs, and then was on the varsity team my sophomore, the end of my freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year.
Nice. And what did those teams do? Did you get very far, or was it just, play the season and a couple playoff games?
So at Sanger, we actually, those 4 years, we were a playoff team every year, district champ or co-champ, each of those 4 years. And then, I think the furthest we got would have been the third round. Got to the second round, never could get past that round. We had always run into, back then it was Commerce when Coach Lineweaver was the head coach there at Commerce. So we had run into to one of the East Texas teams, and we battled them, but just could never get over that hump there.
Nice. And then once your high school career was over, talk me through college.
So high school career was over. I ended up, I was an all-state football player there at Sanger, all-state baseball player at Sanger High School, and was actually recruited to go play baseball in college, and decided that football was what I wanted to do. So I ended up going to Austin College in Sherman. Coach David Norman was the head coach, and Coach Johnny Burnett, who was actually at Oklahoma State as an assistant coach when I'd gone up there for a visit at Oklahoma State. Ended up coming to Austin College to be the defensive coordinator, and kind of brought me towards that way, and because I was talking with him when he was at Oklahoma State, and so it was closer to home. So I ended up going up to Austin College and spent some great time up there and played some great football. Had some good seasons. I think our best season there at Austin College was 7-3, and so we had a lot of fun and enjoyed the college football life for sure.
Nice. And what position did you play in college?
In college, I was a defensive back. I was a cornerback, and then I was a kickoff return and punt return man.
I like it. And somewhere along the line, did you just discover, hey, I want to do this coaching thing, or did you try something else first?
Yeah, so I knew coaching, was what I wanted to do. My high school coach, James Ivey, there at Sanger, was a huge father figure and mentor to me, and then obviously, when I got to college, Coach David Norman was a huge father figure and mentor to me. And so, I knew that coaching was what I wanted to do. I just didn't know what steps to take. So actually, right out of college, I went into restaurant management, and I was a restaurant manager for a year, and decided that I wanted to get on the same schedule as my wife, who was a teacher at the time, and ended up getting on, talking with Coach Jeff Cordell, who was at Gainesville at the time, who was also an Austin College alumni, and he ended up giving me my first job, and I was a varsity secondary coach there for him at Gainesville High School.
Nice. If you could now, your varsity secondary coach, take me stop by stop, all your jobs up through today.
Whew. So let's see. So I started off in Gainesville. They had just actually won the 2003 state championship game, and kind of tagged along with some of that season. And then Coach Cordell was able to hire me in 2004. Had some great times there. Was there 04 and 05. 05 we played for a state championship again and lost to Wimberley in that 05 state championship game. After that 05 season, our staff kind of split. Half of them went one direction, the other half went the other direction, to Greenville and to Cleburne. And so I ended up going back to my hometown because we had just built a house there, and my wife was teaching in Sanger. So I went back to Sanger to be a secondary coach and head track coach, and coached there for a year and a half. Had a couple great seasons there. I ended up getting beat in the third round by Graham in one of those seasons. But after that second season, Coach Cordell gave me a call, and he had just accepted the head football position and athletic director position out in West Texas in Andrews, and asked me to come be his defensive coordinator and track coach out there. So I ended up, we moved out to West Texas to Andrews High School, and I was defensive coordinator and track coach for him in Andrews for 3 years. And my wife and I were kind of contemplating having our second child, and so we kind of want to get back to a little closer to our family, and a position in Hillsboro opened up. And so I applied for it and ended up getting the defensive coordinator job and head track job there in Hillsboro at Hillsboro High School. Played there or coached there for 3 seasons. Ended up getting in the playoffs there for the first time in I think it's 13 or 14 seasons while we were at Hillsboro. And then in that 2014 year, got a phone call from a guy that was on staff with me, Coach Randy Romines in Gainesville. He was out in Splendora down here in the Houston area and called me and said, hey, are you ready to be a head coach and athletic director? And I wasn't sure at 32 years old if that's really what I wanted to do, if I was ready. And I don't think you're ever ready. But I applied for it and ended up getting an interview, and the rest was history there. Accepted that position. We spent 7 seasons there in Splendora, had some great years. While in Splendora, grew. We started out as they just went from a 3A to a 4A school. When I accepted the position, we were there for 2 years. We went from a 4A to a 5A program. Went through a lot of renovations, multi-million-dollar stadium renovations and things to that sort to get us up to par with the 5A level of play. And then we ended up going back down to 4A. After that second year and realignment came around, we were able to have a great season, went 10-2, which was the first 10-win season in Splendora high school history. We won the first playoff game that year, the first playoff game in Splendora history, and still the only playoff win in Splendora history. And so had some great success. My daughter was graduating, and she graduated from Splendora. So after she graduated, the Humble job came open, and my wife and my son were already working and going to school here in Humble ISD. And so when I got a phone call from Troy Kite here at Humble ISD asking me if I'd be interested in the Humble High School job, it kind of the timing was right, and it kind of made sense for us to get back and all of us to be in the same district. And so I've been here for the last 2 years. Nice.
And you just took a new position.
And I just took a new position. Board meeting was Monday, yesterday. And so I will be the new head football coach at Ponder High School in Ponder, Texas.
I love it. So you've been all over the state. What differences have you seen in the different regions of the state?
Man, football's football. And so, obviously the game of football is a little different in different spots. But, I mean, West Texas definitely, you get out there in Midland, Odessa, and the mojo, and you start hearing those stories. So, football is big out there, and the town shuts down. And so it was awesome out there. And so you get down here to Houston, and obviously Houston is a hub for big-time football. So, I think it's kind of just different as far as the towns go. I wouldn't say the football. The football is people are excited about football everywhere you go, and they want to have success and they want to support it. And so, more or less the towns, different towns that we've been in, some have been more low key and relaxed. Others are, like Humble and where we're at now is a little bit more hustle and bustle and busier. But, being able to get back to our family. Our whole family is there in North Texas and around the Denton area. My wife and myself, obviously from Sanger, graduated from Sanger. And I've got a son that'll be going into 6th grade. And so getting him back home to his grandmas and aunts and uncles and cousins. And so, the Ponder job was just a great opportunity for us. And, my cousin or my nephews both go to school in Ponder ISD. So my son and my cousins or my nephews will get to play sports together. So that's pretty cool.
Take your game from this to this with Ready Sports Drink, your premium hydration source for high-octane athletic performance. Ready Sports replenishes with a proprietary formula of 3 dominant electrolytes combined with superfruits, B vitamins, and no added sugars. So if it's time to take your game to the next level, power up with the future of high-performance hydration. Ready Sports Drink, available at Dollar Tree.
My son and my cousins or my nephews will get to play sports together, so that's pretty cool.
No, that's very cool. And you being a track guy, I am 100% sure that you're a big proponent of having your kids be multi-sport athletes. If you could explain why.
Yeah, so obviously multi-sport athletes are huge. You know, I'm not ever gonna push something down a kid's throat or a parent's throat. But I can tell you, multiple recruiters that come to our office, they ask what other sports does this football player play? What other sports are they doing? And so, you know, I think it's big for our kids to be multifaceted and be in as many things as possible. Just because it keeps them competing. You know, it gives them a different venue to compete on, and you know, it obviously football and track, football and the weight room go hand in hand, and so I'm a huge proponent of our football players are going to be out on the track. We're going to be running track, and I got a saying a long time ago from my buddy and a good friend of mine, Coach Reardon, who is at Tyler Chapel Hill. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, to the football players, if you want the ball in the fall, you're going to run the ring in the spring. So, you know, we tell our kids they want to go tote the football and score touchdowns. Well, you've got to take care of your business in the spring and get on that track. So it's very important.
I love it. And throughout this, you've mentioned Coach James Ivey, David Norman. Talk about those friendships that you have in the coaching community that you develop.
Oh, it's a brotherhood and it's a family. You know, you can talk to any coach, but especially the ones that I had growing up. And so, you know, not that my father was displaced, but my father wasn't really around during some of those times and lived out of state. And so those guys to me were my father figure. They were the ones that were putting their arm around me, telling me that they love me, and you know, coaching me through not just the football field and things like that in the sports avenue, but also in life and helping me with my grades and just the ins and outs of issues and struggles that I might have had in my personal life. So having men like that and seeing what they were to me, you know, just helps me and motivates me to want to be that to every one of my athletes, that no matter where I am and no matter what stop I make, that I'm that person, and that we're going to love up our kids. We're going to coach them hard, but we're going to be more than just coaches to them on the football field. We're going to be the father figures and the mentors to them, just as they were to me.
Excellent. And talk about that. You know, you've been coaching long enough now that you've got some former players that have grown up, had families, had careers. Talk about that side of that relationship.
It's pretty awesome, and you know, I've kind of got that, you know, as part of some of my my presentation whenever I applied at Ponder. And so just those relationships, you know, I can go on and on about those relationships and the bonds that I've made with my athletes. You know, I'll just a couple of them offhand. You know, we had a player out in Andrews, in West Texas, Ozzie Bueno, and Ozzie was a great player for us. And he called me. I'd actually already left, and we were in Hillsboro, and I was talking to him and asked him how the season was going, and asked him, it was right at Christmas time. I was asking him how he's doing and what he's doing for Christmas, and he said his family was in Mexico and he was going to spend Christmas by himself. And so I wasn't going to let that happen. So we ended up flying him down, and he came down and spent that Christmas with us as a family. And, you know, Ozzie's still a huge part of my life, and we play golf, and he comes down and visits my family. And, you know, he took our Christmas pictures with us that year. So a lot of times we'll have him up on the mantle, and everybody's like, well, who's this other kid in your picture? And so, you know, that was a huge relationship. I've got, you know, one down here at Splendora, a kid that I coached, and actually he was just a track runner. He didn't play football, Kagan Angers. And Kagan was a kid that was a fantastic track athlete, was a jumper, and ended up going to Sam Houston and competed as a decathlete, was a national champion there at Sam Houston. But more than that, whenever he graduated, I was able to hire him as a coach there at Splendora. And then I was also fortunate enough, he asked me when he got married to his wife, Brooke, to be a groomsman in his wedding. So getting to be a groomsman in one of your former athletes' wedding and being a part of that process, and, you know, getting to hire him as a coach in Splendora. And then when I came here to Humble, I hired him, and he came with me also to Humble. And, just having that opportunity and building those relationships is huge.
I love that. And, you recently met with the school board, talked with various people there about the position at Ponder. What in a nutshell, is Marcus Schulz football bringing to Ponder?
I think Marcus Schulz football is just going to bring a sense of energy, a sense of pride. We are going to have enthusiasm in and out, in the hallways, in the athletic program. We're going to coach our kids hard, but we're also going to demand respect and discipline. And so, I think that they're going to see us teaching our kids the right way and making sure that we're doing the little things day in and day out. And once we do those things on a consistent basis and we can get good at making sure that the little things are taken care of, then they're going to see some success on the field as well.
Excellent. And for parents, as you're meeting with the new parents there, what do you tell them as far as how they can help their kids? Because you see, we talk about straight line recruiting, we talk about street agents, we've got all these things coming at the parents. What should they know to help their kids succeed?
I think the biggest thing that is they're going to make sure that we build those relationships with our parents and with our athletes first and foremost. And so that's going to start by us making sure we do our home visits as soon as I get there and we're able to get some staff in place and the current staff that's there. Then we're going to get out in the community and build those relationships with our parents and let them know that, they can trust us. We've got their kids' best interest at heart. And we're going to do everything we can. If that's a student athlete that wants to go play at the next level or that has aspirations to be a college athlete, then we're going to give them every venue and every opportunity to do that. They've got to understand that first and foremost, they've got to trust us, believe in us, and then, we've got to make sure our academics are taken care of. And so making sure that they're up to date with all of their transcripts and their credits and before the athletic side of things gets going, we've got to make sure that our academics are in place and that we're taking care of our business, so the transcripts, and so that they are even eligible for NCAA clearinghouse and that kind of stuff.
Amen. Well, Coach Marcus Schulz, gosh, I want to thank you so much for talking with me, sharing some of your story and beliefs.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully you'll start seeing a lot of red here soon.
I love it.
Did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas High School Football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.
Until next time, I'm Chris Daly, and we'll see you at the game.